I have a condition, and this condition is called same face syndrome, and I've had enough. It might take my life, and it might take yours too if you're not careful. So what is it? For the babies in the back who were just born yesterday, okay, same face syndrome refers to drawing a certain type of face on every single one of your characters, because that's just what you're most comfortable with, and every single character tends to start looking the same. That's the problem. We gotta do something about that. Same face syndrome is indicative of stagnation, and we cannot have that. So let's take a look at my work here, okay? Now, in the more recent pieces, I've focused more on drawing distinct facial features, albeit still in my style. The problem with a lot of previous pieces is even though the characters are not necessarily the same people, they tend to start looking the same with similar facial features. And then people get confused. They're like, wait, is this your OC or is that your OC? Which one is who? Now, if we go all the way down, all the way down, all the way back down, all the way, look, so these were the original portraits that I was doing, and they were highly realistic. And my problem is, for the past 2 or 3 years, all I've been focused on was getting out of the grasp of realism. Oh my, this is so good. This guy's nuts. Jesus. Okay, anyways, it was realism all the way, and I had no idea how to stylize my characters, how to learn the rules and break them. As you get further and further along, look at what happens. Look at the eyes of your characters. They start getting bigger, you start experimenting more, and this is when I started studying the art styles of some of the other artists who I really admire. If you have same face syndrome, you probably experience the same problem. If you have found a style that looks distinctly like your characters, chances are you gravitate towards that. You find that to be the easiest thing to draw. That's just something that you naturally start doing, even subconsciously. And I think that's been happening to me for the past year, where I just didn't explore other ways of stylization for other types of faces. And that's a problem, because if you were to try to build different worlds, different universes with rich and complex characters filling in each of those worlds, you need to kind of be able to draw different people. For me personally, I like my blend of Disney and anime style for stylized faces, and I'm going to keep that going forward. But I also want to learn how to add more variation, but keeping the same style. You have to learn the rules before you break them. And listen to me, if you're feeling pumped, you're feeling motivated right now, stick with me here, stick with me. I'm going to show you someone who does this really well. This man's name is Jin Kim, Korean. The Koreans, it's something in the water over there. These guys are cracked. Simple shape language to his characters, extremely expressive. Look at that, look. Oh, he's like, you can hear him. This is what I'm talking about. Look, he translates the same style, the same shapes into different things. That's a horse. That's a man. You can't even tell the difference. You can see the expressions and how they translate from one character to another, and you can tell it's done by the same artist even though it looks completely different. Here's one thing you gotta know. In order to accomplish this level of stylization, you have to know the rules before you break them. Now, what does that mean? That means you have to study the types of faces that are out there. You have to study the different types of features. Build up your mental library so that you can stylize characters more effectively. Jin Kim, look him up. This guy's crazy, nuts. So now that you've seen this, you might think that maybe you have a little bit of this too, or maybe you don't have it, which is great. Now here's how we're gonna deal with this. I've got some reference images here of entirely different looking people, and we're gonna try to capture their likeness while maintaining a certain level of stylization. So not fully realistic, because I don't wanna go back to that. We're gonna add some different facial features into our mental library today, and you can follow along with me if you want. I'm also gonna be working on an Intuos. And normally I work on a screen tablet, so this is going to turn out horribly. No pain, no gain. You ever hear that saying, comfort and growth cannot coexist? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to capture the shape of her face. Marlene here from The Last of Us has a very strong bone structure, a powerful individual, just like myself. Oh God, I'm screwing up. Help me. And it's very awkward trying to paint on a screenless tablet. I mean, it's crazy to me that I used to be in the comfort zone of realism, but now the pendulum has swung so far the other way that I've become comfortable in stylization. You know, I'm not turning my brain off and just drawing for the sake of drawing. We're actually observing things. You know, things like the distance between the corner of the nose to the corner of the mouth, and from here to the chin. Now, normally when I draw lips, they kind of come up like this, right? That's kind of the typical lips, but they are different here. See how the corners come up rounded, and see how these corners just come straight down rounded? Oh boy, I need to stop doing this. What? Ooh, I don't normally draw my eyes like that. That's a bit of a difference, isn't it? Flip this canvas horizontal and make sure everything's good. Woo! Here we go. Let's get some basic shading in here. Not going to get too caught up in the rendering here because the longer you take for the rendering, the more likely it is you will get some kind of tunnel vision and you'll kind of start falling back on your old habits. I'm learning. And this is the best thing about art is there's always more to learn. No matter how much you think you know, no matter how comfortable you think you can get. You know, I'm getting used to this tablet. Maybe I don't need a screen tablet after all. Here we're going to get some ambient lighting on her face. Notice how the character is not exactly a one-for-one copy, but we've applied a subtle layer of stylization and simplification to the features, while also maintaining some of the key distinguishing features, like the very sharp cheekbones and the jawline, and these massive delts, these muscular shoulders that I would love to lean on, and highlights. And there we go. That's study number one. We're trying to do some different, oops. All right, so that's study number one. We're looking at some different facials here. We're looking at some different facial features here while also trying to apply a certain level of stylization to our character. And I think this one worked pretty well. Now let's do grandma. Normally I don't draw grandmas, but I think it's important to have this information in your brain just in case one day you need to draw a grandma. She's got a very expressive face. Like look at just how much stretch there is. Now when it comes to stylization, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to exaggerate that a bit, but not too much. We don't wanna lose the likeness for this character. All right, there we go, grandma. Grandma's got some raised eyebrows. Grandma's feeling a little feisty today. And the nose here, this is another part where I just have a serious tendency to draw the same nose on all my characters. So we're gonna take our time here. Absorb this information. She's got very thin lips. Compare Grandma to Marlene. Marlene's got full lips and Grandma barely has lips. Give her some beady, crazy looking eyes here. Now for the render. Oh my God. So again, we're going to keep the rendering really, really simple because it doesn't help that much to go over the same thing again and again. Now, white hair I can do. I've done plenty of that. She looks just like Kara. Maybe she's Kara's mom. She's got a very vibrant yellow sweater here. Something like that. That's pretty good. Wow. Okay. First try, Sam. Jesus. And Grandma here's got a very distinct face. I'll tell you that. She looks a bit dead. She's got some very high, very raised eyebrows here, a lot of tension. You can also see some forehead wrinkles. And I hope that by watching this process, you also feel inspired to work on something that you feel is lacking in your art, even if you don't have same face syndrome, in which case I hate you. But think about it like this. What else are you uncomfortable with? What else in your art tends to bother you? Do you notice a trend of every time you start drawing, let's say the hand of a character, you think, oh, not this again. And then you create some type of abomination and you're like, well, I guess I'll live with it. No, you won't. No. Don't do that. No, you're going to pick up your iPad right now. And you and I, we are going to work on it together to absorb new things like a sponge. Like SpongeBob. All right, so here I'm just giving her some line art, you know, just to provide a bit more clarity. The glasses kind of remind me of an annoying librarian that I used to know from school. If you're watching this, librarian lady, I don't like you. Normally you can see that I go to this kind of red color for the lips, and that is way too vibrant here. So you're kind of just experimenting. But you see, as soon as you do this, you want to take a mental note of this so that for future reference, you know, hey, I can draw a lip that is this color, that is this shape, because we're trying to break out of that pattern of drawing the same thing over and over again. She's about to make a yo mama joke. And in old people, here's the thing that I've noticed, okay? The laugh lines here, the lines between the edge of the nose and the corner of the mouth, they're very, very pronounced in older people. All right, some shadow under the bottom lip. I'm keeping this relatively loose. I think by the end of this video, I'll try to do a final, more rendered version and show you guys that at the very end. But during this process, I just want you to see where 80% of the learning actually happens, where you're just observing and you store that information away in your little hard drive here. Remember that we do not want to be stagnant, and it's perfectly fine to find yourself in a bit of a rut. Right? We all have those days, those months, maybe even years. So no matter how big you think you are, no matter how skilled you think you are, there's always more to learn. Speaking like Master Oogway here. Quit. Don't quit. Noodles. Don't noodles. Studying the features that we're not really used to. That's where all the learning happens. All right, so there we go. There's Marlene. There's Grandma. So look at the difference in facial features too. Like when you're doing studies, you want to also keep this stuff in mind, like how different each character looks. Grandma's got a much more saggy kind of appearance. She looks droopy. When people get older, gravity's been acting on their body for so long that things just droop. But you go to Marlene and she's young, she's muscular, she's fit. And for the next piece, let's try to draw a character from the same scene. Let's try to draw Michelle Yeoh. And she's got some very distinct facial features, but I think she'll be pretty challenging because her face is a lot more subtle. She's got powerful cheekbones, big old cheekbones here. And I think another really defining feature is going to be the shape of her eyes. So we have to get that down. Oh, ooh, yeah, that's not looking good. Usually with Asian characters, like myself, we have eyelids that kind of come outwards. So there's going to be a lot more lighting hitting this surface and it's not going to be in shadow. Now her nose is also going to be a bit tricky because she's got a pretty asymmetrical looking nose. I'm going to try not to draw this like how I usually like to draw noses, which is very angular, just very like anime style. Okay, I just know these eyes are not going to look right when I first do this. That's okay. You can also see she has very sparse eyebrows here, which is, again, something I'm not used to. I always draw my characters with like really full eyebrows that go all the way to the edge, but because she's old, or is she old? How old is she? How old is Michelle Yeoh? 60. Bro, if I look this good at 60, I think I'd just pass away. See, that's what I'm saying, guys. Asians don't age. Okay, now if we move our attention down to the lips, you can see that the edge of the lip starts like this. It's a rounded shape that goes up. Whereas most lips that you see are gonna look like that. The curve is the other way. It's kind of like that, right? But her lips kind of come down like this. And these are all things that we wanna take, we wanna keep in our mental library. So you guys can see we're really trying to step out of our comfort zones here. And this is how you learn. In order for you to make real progress, you have to kind of embrace things that you're not comfortable with. Man, I swear to God, if I look this good at 60, I think the most beautiful thing is to find ways to depict things that are unique to you, which is what we call a style. You know, a lot of times in my experience, people who don't draw, people who don't do much art, tend to find the realistic stuff very impressive. But now if you're an artist, once you've mastered realism, there's always that next stage. There's always the stage where you can push your stylization. You can push your own unique voice. And we should all adopt the mindset that there's something we can learn from almost anyone. Some people are hopeless, but you know. Stop. Go away. Ooh, that looks good. Shadows under the eyes for the eye bags. Again, eye bags are something that I'm not used to drawing on my characters. On people who are not East Asians, you might get more of a shadow that comes down that covers the entire underside of the brows. So there's more of a protrusion there. On East Asian people, you're gonna get more of a bulge up here on the upper lid. I'm trying to learn things. Trying to absorb information. All right, and you know what we're missing here? We're missing some highlights. Boom. Oh yeah, look at that. Immediately juicy eyeballs. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, oh, I painted on the wrong layer this whole time. All right, you know what? We'll embrace it. We'll embrace our mistakes here. That's a rookie mistake. Oh, I'm disgusted with myself. I think that captures a decent amount of her likeness while also maintaining a level of stylization. So there we go. We got Marlene, we've got Grandma, and we have Michelle Yeoh. And I really hope that this video has inspired you to work on something that you've been putting off this whole time. For me, it's same face syndrome. I've been drawing my characters the same for far too long, and I want to add more variety in the future. I want to add to my skill set instead of staying stagnant. So if you have same face syndrome, a terminal illness just like me, well, this is what you can do to try to break out of it. But even if you don't, I am absolutely sure you have other issues that you need to work on. And the best way to grow is not to run from them. Instead, identify them, accept them, and try to work on them. And like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. And that's about it. That's all I wanted to share with you guys. I have an illness and I'm trying to work on it right now. Remember, you have to take your issues, take your problems, you have to target them, you have to destroy them. All right, there you go. Go on now, pick up an iPad, pick up a pencil, go do something. Get out of here. Why are you still on this video? You waiting for me to say something funny? You better start working, because I'm